What if the moment Spider-Man leapt between two skyscrapers, the city vanished beneath him and was replaced by an endless ocean of Starswood, the friendly neighborhood hero? Survive a universe that doesn't even know his name. The wind is wrong. That's the first thing Peter Parker notices as his web snaps forward into nothing. No brick, no glass, no comforting screech of steel and concrete. Just silence, and then the sky tears open. Neon lights smear into streaks. Gravity forgets which way is down. Peter's stomach lurches as the world folds like a sheet of paper set on fire from the edges inward. Okay, he mutters inside his mask, heart pounding. This is new. The city is gone. New Aunt May's apartment, the sirens, the smells of food carts and rain on asphalt wiped away in a blink. In its place, a black infinity speckled with stars so sharp they look like broken glass. A massive shape looms ahead, silver and impossible, cutting through space with quiet authority. Lights trace its hull like veins. Letters he's never seen before glow along the side. USS Enterprise. Peter spins helplessly, suit sensors screaming warnings he doesn't understand. No oxygen, no reference point, no way home. His web shooters fire uselessly into the void, white strands unraveling into frost. Panic claws at his chest. He's fought aliens before, green ones, purple gods, talking raccoons, but this feels different, bigger, colder, like the universe itself just shrugged and forgot about him. A beam of light slams into his body. For half a second, Peter is sure this is how he dies, not in a blaze of glory, but as a weird footnote in some cosmic logbook. Then the light softens, his atoms hum, the stars stretch, and the void snaps shut. He crashes onto a polished floor, skidding, tumbling, slamming into something solid with a grunt. Alarms blare, red lights flash. Voices shout, calm, controlled, terrified in a way he's never heard before. Life form detected, humanoid, no environmental suit, shields holding. Medical team, standby. Peter groans, rolling onto his back. Gravity feels normal again. Air rushes into his lungs, sweet and overwhelming. He laughs once, breathless, half hysterical. Wow. Okay. So, space Uber. He sits up and freezes. They're staring at him. Men and women in strange uniforms, colors divided like some kind of minimalist flag. No guns raised, no screaming, just wide eyes and hands hovering near devices that hum softly with power. At the center stands a man with steel gray hair and a face carved from discipline and curiosity. His eyes aren't afraid. They're measuring. Report, the man says calmly. Unknown individual. Vital signs. Accelerated. Costume integrated with body. No known species match. Peter raises both hands slowly. Hi, I know this looks bad, but I swear I don't usually fall out of the sky onto military-grade hallways. The gray-haired man steps closer. You're aboard a Starfleet vessel? Identify yourself, Starfleet. The word means nothing and everything. Peter's spider sense prickles, not with danger, but with scale. Whatever this place is, it's organized, powerful, old in a way that doesn't feel ancient, but advanced. Like he's stepped into the future, and it doesn't recognize him. I'm Spider-Man, Peter says. Then, softer, I think I'm lost. Medical officers approach cautiously. One scans him, frowning. Captain, his biology is human, but altered. Genetically enhanced strength. Reflexes far beyond baseline. Enhanced. Peter swallows. That word has gotten him in trouble before. The captain studies him. I'm Jean-Luc Picard, and you are very far from home, Mr. Spider-Man. Peter's mask suddenly feels too tight. Comb, the word hits harder than any punch. He thinks of May, of MJ, of a city that doesn't know he's gone yet. Yet he says quietly, I kind of figured. Around them, the ship hums, vast and alive, carrying thousands of souls through a galaxy Peter's never seen. Outside these walls are worlds, with no Avengers, no Daily Bugle, no friendly neighborhoods to protect. Just stars and rules and threats that don't pull their punches. Picard turns to his crew. Until we understand how he arrived here, he is our responsibility. Responsibility. Peter's chest tightens, because that word of all words, he understands. But as the ship continues its journey through unknown space, a shadow passes across the view screen. Something massive, watching, waiting. And Peter Parker has no idea that his accidental arrival has just nudged the timeline of this universe, dangerously off course. What if the greatest danger Spider-Man faced among the stars wasn't an alien warlord, or a cosmic anomaly, but a universe that demanded he stop being Spider-Man? Peter doesn't sleep. Not really. He lies on a narrow bed in a room that feels like a hospital, designed by someone who hates corners, staring at a ceiling that softly glows like an artificial dawn. The hum of the ship seeps into his bones, steady and endless, like a heartbeat that isn't his own. Every few minutes, footsteps pass outside his door. Calm, orderly, too calm. This place doesn't feel hostile. That's what unsettles him. A soft chime breaks the silence. The door slides open without a sound, and Captain Picard steps inside, hands clasped behind his back. No guards, no weapons, just quiet authority. "Did you rest?" Picard asks. Peter snorts. "Define rest." Picard allows the faintest smile. "Understandable." He gestures, and a small table rises from the floor, projecting a three-dimensional star map that blooms into the air. Galaxies spiral outward, vast and indifferent. Peter sits up despite himself, eyes wide. "That's not Earth," he says. "No," Picard replies gently. "Earth is here." A tiny blue dot pulses somewhere deep within the projection, and this ship is here, approximately 51,000 light-years away. Peter's breath catches. His mind tries to do the math, fails, and gives up. So, walking home is off the table. For now. Picard studies him, not as a prisoner, but as a puzzle. He appeared during a routine survey. "No known technology aboard this ship or in the Federation can explain how you crossed universes," Peter repeats. Plural. Cool. Love that for me. Picard's tone shifts, subtle but serious. "What concerns me more is what you represent." Peter's spider sense tingles, not danger, but consequence. "You come from a reality with costumed vigilantes," Picard continues. "Individuals who operate outside centralized authority, enforcing justice as they see fit." Peter stiffens. "I don't enforce justice. I help people." "An admirable goal," Picard says, "but intention and impact are not always aligned." The words land harder than any phaser blast. Peter looks away. He's heard this before from cops, from politicians, from men in armor who thought they knew better. "So what?" Peter says quietly. "You gonna send me to space jail?" Picard shakes his head. "On the contrary, Starfleet is built on principles: exploration, cooperation, restraint. We do not interfere in the natural development of civilizations." Peter looks back sharply. "You mean you don't step in, even when people are hurting?" "We help when invited," Picard replies. "We observe when not. Power without restraint has destroyed more worlds than we can count." Silence stretches between them, heavy and unresolved. An alarm suddenly cuts through the calm, not blaring controlled, but urgent. "Captain," comes a voice over the intercom. "We're detecting a spatial distortion off the port bow. Same energy signature as Mr. Spider-Man's arrival." Peter's heart jumps. "Wait, that thing that brought me here. It's happening again." Picard straightens. On the view screen, they step onto the bridge together. Crew members move with precision as the main screen fills with swirling light space folding in on itself, like a wound being reopened. Sensors spike. Energy readings climb off the charts, and then something comes through. Not a ship, not a creature, a signal. Data's voice cuts in, analytical and uneasy. "Captain, the distortion is responding." As if it recognizes him, Peter's stomach drops. "Recognizes me how?" Before anyone can answer, the lights flicker. The ship shudders, not violently, but enough to be felt. Peter grips a console, instincts screaming. On the screen, the distortion stabilizes into a shape, geometric, impossible, shimmering with intelligence. A voice echoes through the bridge, layered and cold, not spoken but impressed directly into their minds. "An anomaly walks among you, a veritable born of chaos." Picard steps forward. "Identify yourself." The entity ignores him. "Spider-Man," it intones the name rippling with alien emphasis. "You do not belong, yet you persist." Peter swallows hard. "Buddy, you have no idea how much I agree with that." The presence pulses, and suddenly Peter sees Flash's worlds collapsing, timelines fraying, outcomes branching into darkness. He staggers, clutching his head. "Your existence here destabilizes probability." The voice continues. "Remove the variable, or witness correction." Picard turns sharply to Peter. "What is it showing you?" Peter looks up, eyes wide behind his mask. "The future." And trust me, you don't want the bad ending. Outside the ship, the distortion begins to grow. And somewhere deep in the stars, forces far older than Starfleet take notice of the friendly neighborhood hero who just broke their universe. What if saving this universe meant Spider-Man had to choose between the oath of Starfleet and the promise that made him a hero in the first place? The distortion doesn't fade. It retreats slowly, deliberately, like a predator that has memorized its prey scent. The bridge lights stabilize, but no one relaxes. Starfleet officers don't panic, but Peter can feel it in the air, unease sharpened into focus. Picard watches the empty space where the entity vanished. "Red alert," he says calmly. The ship responds instantly. "All hands, stand by." Peter leans against a console, breathing hard. His head still rings with images he knows and fully understands it is. He's never seen tearing themselves apart. Stars going dark. Faces that look to him for help even though they don't know his name. "That thing," Peter says, voice low. "It's like, a cosmic antivirus." "I'm the malware." Data turns toward him. "Your analogy is imprecise, yet functionally accurate." "Great. I've always wanted to be a bug." Picard faces him fully now. "He said it showed you the future." "Not the whole thing," Peter replies. "Just enough to scare me. Every version where I sit quietly and follow the rules." He shakes his head. "A lot of people die." Picard's jaw tightens. "Starfleet does not trade lives lightly." "I know," Peter says, softer. "That's the problem." They move into the briefing room. The door seals behind them, shutting out the hum of the ship. Holograms flicker to life probability graphs, spatial models, timelines branching like broken spiderwebs. "The entity appears to be a Q," Picard explains, "or something adjacent. Beings that exist beyond linear time." Peter winces. "So, goddish." "Capricious omnipotence," Picard corrects, with a fondness for moral tests. Peter laughs weakly. "Of course it does." Data gestures to a projection. Simulations indicate that Mr. Spider-Man's continued presence increases the likelihood of large-scale conflict by 47%. Picard adds, "Yet removing you, sending you back, or containing your results in catastrophic loss of life in multiple systems." Peter rubs his temples. "So, either I stay and break your rules, or I leave and people die." "That is the paradox," Picard says. "Starfleet was not built to solve problems by becoming the problem." Peter looks up sharply. "With great power comes great responsibility." Picard finishes quietly. The room stills. Picard meets Peter's gaze, something human breaking through his command composure. "That philosophy has guided you well. But understand this. If you act as you do in your universe, you risk becoming exactly what Starfleet fears, a vigilante," Peter says. "An exception." The word hangs there, heavy. Before Peter can respond, another alarm sounds, this one sharper. "Captain," Worf's voice growls over the intercom. "We are receiving a distress call. Federation colony, under attack." The main screen flares to life. A planet fills the view, lush green, ringed with clouds. Energy blasts tear through its atmosphere. Ships descend, angular and brutal. Data's eyes widen. Borg. Peter's blood runs cold. He's heard the name in fragments since waking up on this ship. Cybernetic monsters. Collective minds. No mercy. Picard's voice hardens. Set course. Maximum warp. As the Enterprise surges forward, Peter steps closer to the screen. He watches Borg vessels carve through defensive lines, civilians scattering like ants. "I can help," Peter says immediately. Picard doesn't look at him. "Starfleet will handle this." "With respect, sir." Peter presses. "I've fought hive-mind aliens before. They don't like unpredictability." Picard finally turns, "And if you engage them, you expose them to concepts they have not yet assimilated. You risk accelerating their evolution." Peter clenches his fists. "And if I don't?" Picard doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. The ship drops out of warp. Space erupts into chaos. Phasers fire. Shields flare. Borg ships advance, relentless and silent. Peter's spider sense explodes. Boarding parties incoming. Worf shouts. Explosions rock the hull. A section of the ship buckles. Smoke fills the bridge. Through it all, Picard remains steady until a Borg drone materializes on the bridge itself. Eyes glowing, weapons charging. Time slows. Starfleet protocol says, wait, contain, analyze. Everything Spider-Man stands for. Screams. Move. Peter leaps. He slams into the drone, webbing its arm mid-chart, flipping over its head and yanking it into the deck. The crew stares in stunned silence as Peter pins the drone, webbing spreading, joints locked. For a heartbeat, it works. Then the drone's eye lights flicker and adapt. Data's voice cuts through the moment. Cutting. The Borg are recalibrating. They are learning from him. Peter looks down at the struggling drone, realization dawning. By saving lives now, he may be teaching the Borg how to kill countless more later. And somewhere beyond time, the watching entity smiles. What if every punch Spider-Man threw against the Borg made them stronger and the only way to win was to stop being a hero altogether? The Borg drone convulses beneath Peter's grip. Its mechanical eye refocuses lenses, worry, recalculating. Thin green light crawls across the webbing, analyzing molecular structure, tensile strength, chemical composition. That's not good, Peter mutters. Captain, Data says urgently, fingers flying across his console. The Borg are assimilating tactical data from Mr. Spider-Man's movements in real time. Picard's eyes narrow. All security teams, fall back. Do not engage hand-to-hand. Too late. Another drone materializes behind Peter. His spider sense screams. He flips instinctively, barely avoiding a blade that slices the air where his head had been. He fires a web, yanks the drone forward, slams it into a bulkhead hard enough to dent reinforced alloy. The Borg don't slow. They advance. Each movement becomes sharper, faster, predictive. They're no longer reacting to Spider-Man, they're anticipating him. Peter lands in a crouch, chest heaving. For the first time since the bridge, fear tightens his throat. Not fear of dying. Fear of teaching the wrong lesson. Picard, he shouts. You gotta pull me out of this. Picard hesitates. Just a fraction of a second, but that's all the Borg need. A drone fires. The blast clips Peter's shoulder, sending him skidding across the deck. Pain flares white-hot. His suit smokes, fibers screaming in protest. Worf roars and charges, bat'leth raised. Picard snaps. No. Worf stops, teeth bared, every instinct screaming defiance. Peter pushes himself up, wincing. Captain, he pants, I can't fight them like this. They adapt to strength, to skill, to me. Picard's voice is ice and resolve. Transporter room 3, now. A shimmer of light engulfs Peter, just as a Borg drone lunges. Space snaps and he's gone. He rematerializes in the transporter room, staggering. Dr. Crusher is there, hands already guiding him to a bioduct. You're injured, she says. I'm embarrassed. Peter groans, then sobers. Did they stop? Crusher doesn't answer immediately. The silence tells him everything. On the view screen, the battle rages. Borg ships press harder, shields buckling. The Enterprise fights with discipline and precision, but the Borg are relentless. They're adapting faster than expected, Crusher says quietly, as if they've been inspired. Peter turns his head away. Guilt settles heavy in his chest. So this is it, he murmurs. I show up, try to help, and make things worse. Same story, different universe. Crusher meets his eyes. That's not what I see. Peter laughs bitterly. Yeah, because where I'm standing, people are about to die because I couldn't sit on my hands. Crusher softens. Starfleet believes in restraint. You believe in action. Perhaps the answer isn't choosing one over the other. Before Peter can respond, Picard's voice comes over the intercom. Calm, tired. Mr. Spider-Man, report to the observation lounge. The lounge overlooks the stars. Borg ships drift in the distance, regrouping. The battle has paused, but not ended. Picard stands with his hands behind his back. He doesn't turn when Peter enters. You were right, Picard says at last. Your presence changes the equation. Peter stiffens. So? That's it? You're gonna send me back? Let the chips fall? Picard turns now, eyes sharp but conflicted. If I send you back, this timeline collapses in several projections. Then why does it feel like I'm still the problem? Picard walks closer. Because you are a catalyst. And catalysts are dangerous precisely because they accelerate reactions. Picard studies him for a long moment. Starfleet cannot allow you to act independently. Peter's shoulders sag. Yeah, figured. But, Picard continues, Starfleet can allow you to advise. Peter blinks. Pliffs advise. Your instincts, Picard says, are unorthodox, emotional, human. T may provide perspectives we lack. Peter lets out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. So, no, punching. Picard's mouth twitches. Let us hope it does not come to that. The ship shudders lightly, a warning tremor. Data's voice cuts in over the com. Captain, the Borg are transmitting. The view screen ignites. A single drone appears, larger, more refined. Its voice echoes, layered and cold. We have analyzed the anomaly. Spider-Man, you represent inefficient individuality, yet high adaptive value. Peter's heart sinks. We wish to acquire you. Picard steps forward. That will not be permitted. The drones. Rai fixes on Peter. Resistance will escalate. These signal cuts. Peter swallows hard. Captain, if they want me, they won't stop. Picard nods slowly. Then we must ensure they never get you. Outside, Borg ships begin to move again, this time, not toward the Enterprise, but toward the nearby colony. Peter's spider sense flares like a siren. They're not attacking us, he says softly. They're forcing my hand. Picard meets his gaze. And what does your instinct tell you? Pierre clenches his fists, torn between two worlds, two philosophies, one impossible choice. It tells me, he says, that if I go down there, I might save them, or doom everyone later. The stars remain silent, and the universe waits for Spider-Man to decide what kind of hero it's going to allow him to be. What if the only way to stop the Borg was to let Spider-Man be a trust that his humanity would break the collective from the inside? The plan sounds insane the moment Peter says it out loud. You want to let them take you? Picard asks, voice carefully neutral, as if speaking too firmly might shatter the idea or the man proposing it. Peter stands in the middle of the briefing room, hands braced on the table, eyes locked on the swirling hologram of the Borg fleet. Not take me, he corrects. Target me. Data tilts his head. Clarify. They already want me, Peter says. They see me as an upgrade. Individuality plus adaptability. If I dangle myself just enough, they'll focus on me instead of the colony. Crusher stiffens. That would mean direct exposure. The simulation is, I know. Peter cuts in. Quieter now. I've seen what happens to people who lose themselves. Trust me. It scares the hell out of me. Picard studies him. The room is silent except for the hum of the ship. And after they assimilate you, Picard asks. Peter exhales. That's the gamble. My mind doesn't work like theirs. I think in contradictions. Jokes, guilt, responsibility. If I'm in their network, even for a second, I might introduce something they can't process. Chaos, Data says. Humanity, Peter replies. Worf growls. Or you will be consumed. Peter meets his gaze without flinching. That's always been part of the job. Picard turns away, staring at the stars. For a long moment, he says nothing. Then, softly, Starfleet does not ask its officers to sacrifice their souls. Peter steps closer. You're not asking. I'm offering. Picard closes his eyes briefly. When he opens them, the decision is made. We will attempt a controlled engagement. If there is any sign you are being lost, we pull you out. Peter nods. Deal. The shuttle bay yawns open to space. Peter stands at the edge, suit repaired but scarred, stars reflecting off his mask. He looks back once at Picard, at Crusher, at a crew that shouldn't care about him, but somehow does. Hey, Peter says awkwardly, if this goes bad, tell people I tried to do the right thing. Picard's voice is steady. I suspect they will know. The shuttle launches. Borg space looms closer, oppressive, geometric. A single cube detaches, moving to intercept. Tractor beams lock on. Peter feels the pull inevitable, crushing. Inside the cube, darkness swallows him. Metal clamps seize his limbs. Cold instruments pierce his suit, his skin. Pain flares sharp, invasive. He grits his teeth, forcing himself to breathe. 1,000 voices flood his mind. We are the Borg. You will be improved. Peter's thoughts fracture under the weight. Images of Aunt May flicker. Of Uncle Ben. Of a promise whispered through tears. With great power, Peter thinks, clinging to the words like a lifeline. Nanoprobes surge into his bloodstream. His spider sense screams, not danger, but violation. The collective presses in order, efficiency, certainty. They try to smooth his mind, erase the noise. But Peter's mind has always been noise. Jokes surface unbidden. Guilt loops endlessly. Memories collide, saving a kid from a burning building, failing to save a friend, choosing wrong and living with it. The Borg hesitate. Contradiction detected. Peter smiles weakly. Yeah, that's me. He pushes. not with strength but with doubt, with choice, with the idea that power doesn't come from perfection, but from caring even when it hurts. The collective shudders. Connections falter. Drones pause mid-motion across the cube. On the Enterprise, alarms flare. Captain, data calls. The Borg network is experiencing recursive feedback. Emotional paradoxes are spreading. Inside the cube, Peter feels himself slipping. His vision blurs. His thoughts fragment. "Come on," he whispers. "Just think about someone else, anyone else." He thinks of the colony below, of people who'll never know his name. The Borg scream not in sound, but in silence. Individuality is inefficient. Pain is irrelevant. Then why do you feel it? Peter thinks back. The cube across the fleet, Borg ships falter. Some drift. Some power down. Some turn confused, aimless. On the bridge, Picard watches in awe. "He's done it," Crusher whispers. "He's breaking them." Inside the cube, Peter feels the grip loosen. Nanoprobes retract. Voices scatter. But something remains. A presence ancient, curious, amused. Variable confirmed. The cosmic entity murmurs in the back of Peter's mind. Outco, altered. The clamps release. Peter collapses to the floor, gasping. Freebird changed. As the cube goes dark around him, one question echoes louder than the rest. Did Spider-Man just save this universe? Or permanently rewrite it? What if breaking the Borg didn't end the danger but awakened something far worse that had been waiting for Spider-Man to prove he mattered? Peter wakes up to silence. Not the peaceful kind. The wrong kind. The kind that feels hollow, like sound itself has decided to avoid the space around him. His eyes open slowly. The cold metal floor beneath him is dark now, unlit. The Borg cube once alive with motion, voices. Certainty is a tomb. Drones lie frozen where they fell, eyes dark, bodies slack. The collective is gone. Peter rolls onto his side, every muscle screaming. His suit is scorched, torn in places where nanoprobes tried to rewrite him. His head feels bigger, not smarter, louder, like echoes are still bouncing around in places they shouldn't be. "Okay," he whispers hoarsely. That was new trauma. A shimmer of light cuts through the darkness, not a transporter beam. Something else. Reality bends inward, folding like fabric pinched between invisible fingers. The air thickens. Time stutters. And then the entity appears, no longer a distant voice, but a presence given shape. Humanoid, vaguely, features shifting, unstable, as if it's trying on forms and finding none of them quite right. "You exceeded projections," it says, amusement woven through every syllable. "You were meant to fracture. Instead, you infected perfection." Peter forces himself upright, leaning against a console. "Look, if you're here to congratulate me, great, but I'm kind of exhausted." The entity tilts its head. "You misunderstand. This was never about the Borg." Peter's spider sense flares not sharp, not immediate but deep, existential. "What do you want?" he asks. "Balance," it replies. "Your universe breeds anomalous heroes, gods, contradictions. His universe prizes order. You are the bridge and the fault line." Space beyond the cube ripples. Peter glimpses impossible things, timelines overlapping, futures bleeding into one another. In some, Starfleet becomes militarized, hardened by what it's learned. In others, the Borg evolves not as conquerors, but as something worse, something creative. "You broke the rules," Peter says, realization dawning. "You pulled me here on purpose." Entity smiles. "I opened a door. You walked through it." Before Peter can respond, space tears open again, this time violently. A familiar shimmer engulfs him. The transporter yanks him away. He slams onto the floor of the Enterprise's sickbay, hands grabbing him before he can even orient himself. Dr. Crusher's voice cuts through the haze. He's back. Vitals stabilizing elevated neural activity, but he's himself. Picard is there in an instant. "Mr. Spider-Man." Peter looks up at him, eyes tired but sharp. "The Borg. Disconnected," Picard says. "The collective has collapsed." Across multiple sectors, Peter exhales, relief flooding through him. "Then it worked." "Yes," Picard agrees. Then, more quietly, but at a cost. The view screen flickers on. Data stands nearby, expression unusually tense. "Captain," Data says, "long-range sensors are detecting anomalies, multiple. Temporal instability. probability curves diverging. Peter sits up slowly. Because of me. Data nods. Your actions introduce no native variables into several key historical nodes. Picard folds his hands behind his back. Starfleet Command has questions. Let me guess, Peter says dryly. None of them end with thank you. Some do, Picard admits. Others are fearful. Before Peter can respond, a new voice fills the room, one that does not come from the ship's systems, as they should be. The entity manifests again, larger now, more defined. The room dims around it. Security moves instantly, weapons raised. Picard steps forward. You will not threaten my ship. The entity ignores him, eyes fixed on Peter. The test is not over, it says. You have shown that individuality can disrupt inevitability. Now we observe the consequence. What consequence? Peter demands. Space outside the Enterprise fractures. Stars distort. A shockwave ripples outward, not physical, but conceptual. Data's eyes widen. Captain, we are detecting a vessel emerging from a non-linear timeline. On the view screen a ship appears. Not Starfleet, not Borg. Something darker, sharper, built for war, not exploration. Its hull is scarred with symbols. Peter Dawson, T recognize Betty's energy signature, feels wrong in a way his spider sense can T ignore. Crusher whispers, that ship, it shouldn't exist. The entity's voice lowers, almost reverent. You taught this universe how to break itself, it says. Now let us see if it can survive what comes next. Peter stares at the screen, dread settling in his gut. Because whatever is coming feels like it was designed to kill heroes. What if the future that Spider-Man accidentally created was one where heroes were no longer symbols of hope but targets meant to be erased? The ship on the view screen doesn't hail them. It just sits there, silent and patient, like a blade held perfectly still before the strike. The Enterprise hums uneasily, systems compensating for space-time distortions that shouldn't exist. Consoles flicker. Readings contradict themselves. Cause and effect seem negotiable. Dato breaks the silence first. Captain, the vessel's temporal signature originates from at least 3 divergent futures. Its technology incorporates Borg adaptive principles, Starfleet shielding theory, and unknown enhancements. Worf's hand tightens on his weapon. It is a hunter. Peter's spider sense is screaming now, a sharp warning, but a constant roar, like standing too close to a jet engine. He feels exposed in a way he never has before. That thing, Peter says slowly, it's looking for me. The entity's presence lingers at the edge of perception. Pleased. Correction, it murmurs. It is looking for what you represent. The enemy ship finally moves. It glides forward, impossibly smooth, ignoring inertia. A beam lances out not at the Enterprise, but past it, slicing through space itself. A nearby star flickers, then dims. Crusher stares in horror. It just extinguished it. Data's voice is tight. Energy output exceeds known limits. That was not a weapon strike. It was a correction event. Picard's face hardens. It erases what it deems unnecessary. Peter's chest tightens. Like heroes, the ship hails them at last. The screen fills with a figure, humanoid, but wrong. Its eyes glow with cold intelligence. Its voice is layered, precise. We are the continuance, a solution to chaos. Picard steps forward. You are violating the sovereignty of this sector. The figure's gaze shifts locks onto Peter. Spider-Man, it says. Origin point of deviation. Your existence destabilizes optimal outcomes. You will be removed. Peter swallows. Wow. No trial, no speech. Rude. The continuance tilts its head. We were built without sentiment. The entity's voice whispers in Peter's mind again. This is the consequence. A universe that learns to fear unpredictability will eventually try to destroy it. Phasers fire. The Enterprise attacks first. It does nothing. The enemy ship absorbs the impact, adapting instantly not as to energy frequency, but to intent. Return fire slams into the Enterprise, not as heat or force, but as probability collapse. Consoles explode. Crew members are thrown to the deck as systems simply stop being likely to function. Shields at 30%. Worf roars. Peter doesn't wait. I can get on that ship, he says. Disrupted from the inside, Picard turns sharply. You will not sacrifice yourself again. Peter meets his gaze. I'm not trying to die. I'm trying to distract a bully who thinks he understands the universe. And if you're wrong, Peter smiles sadly, then I'll be wrong doing something. Before Picard can respond, The continuance ship fires again, this time directly at the Enterprise's core trajectory. There's no time. Peter sprints, down corridors, through smoke and alarms, toward the shuttle bay. His body moves on instinct, every leap fueled by a familiar, painful clarity. This is what he does. This is who he is. The shuttle launches under fire. Peter ejects mid-flight, hurtling through space toward the enemy hull. His webbing sticks barely to alien metal that hums with suppressed power. Inside, the ship feels empty. No crew, no life signs. Just a central chamber where a core pulses like a frozen heart. And there, waiting for him, is another figure. Not alien, human. Older, scarred, wearing armor patterned with a broken spider emblem. Peter freezes. "Sir K," he whispers. K whispers. Definitely new. The figure removes his helmet. It's Peter Parker. Older, harder, eyes hollowed by years of loss. "In my timeline," the man says coldly, "heroes destroyed everything." Peter's blood runs cold. "You're me." The other Peter nods. "I survived long enough to fix the mistake." Outside, the Enterprise reels under another impossible strike. Inside the enemy ship, two Spider-Men stand face to face, one who still believes, and one who has learned to stop believing. And the universe holds its breath, waiting to see which version deserves to exist. What if the final battle was on Spider-Man versus an enemy, but Spider-Man versus the future he was never supposed to become? The older Peter steps closer, armor humming softly, eyes locked with a familiarity that hurts more than any punch. "In my universe," he says, voice flat, exhausted, "we saved people, again and again. And every time we did, the universe adapted. Stronger enemies, smarter systems, less tolerance for chaos. Until hope itself became the threat." Peter feels his throat tightened. "So you decided to erase it." "I decided to end the cycle," the older Peter snaps. "No more symbols. No more masks. Just order." The ship trembles as another correction wave fires outward. Somewhere far away, a future is being erased, cleanly and efficiently. Peter shakes his head. He didn't fix anything. He just gave up. The older Peter laughs short, bitter. "That's what I told myself too. Before the funeral stacked up. Before Aunt May died, believing I could have done more." That lands like a knife. Peter's voice drops. "You think I don't carry that every day?" The older Peter hesitates, just for a fraction of a second. Outside, Picard's voice crackles faintly through Peter's cum. "Mr. Spider-Man, we cannot hold much longer." Peter looks past his older self to the core, to the machinery rewriting reality. He understands it now. The continuance isn't powered by hate. It's powered by fear. Fear of loss. Fear of choice. He steps forward, lowering his fists. "You're right about one thing," Peter says softly. "Being a hero makes things messy. People get hurt, sometimes because of us." The older Peter stiffens. "Then you finally understand." "But that doesn't mean we stop," Peter continues. "It means we keep choosing anyway, even when it hurts. Especially then." The older Peter's hands tremble. "That choice destroyed my world." "No," Peter says. "Losing faith did." Silence stretches between them. The ship hums, waiting. The entity's voice echoes faintly, almost curious. "Which outcome do you choose?" Peter looks at his older self, freely looks at the exhaustion, the loneliness, the version of himself that never forgave the world for not being fair. Then Peter does the most Spider-Man thing possible. He reaches out. "I'm sorry," he says, "for what you lost, for what I might lose someday, but I won't become you." The older Peter's eyes glisten. The armor flickers. The continuance core stutters, confused by contradiction and by mercy where correction was expected. "Then stop me," the older Peter whispers. Peter doesn't punch him. He pulls him into a hug. The universe shudders. Memories flood the system, every saved life, every failure, every moment where Peter Parker chose responsibility over certainty. The core overloads, unable to reconcile a hero who keeps going without guarantees. The older Peter screams, not in pain, but in release as the armor disintegrates. His form destabilizes, becoming light. "Don't forget why you started," he says as he fades. "Promise me." Peter's voice breaks. "I promise." The continuance ship fractures, collapsing in on itself, not violently, but gently, like a thought finally let go. On the Enterprise, space snaps back into place. Systems stabilize. The enemy ship vanishes as if it never existed. Peter is pulled into a transporter beam one last time. He lands on the bridge, exhausted, bruised, alive. Picard steps forward, relief unmistakable. "It's over," Picard says. Peter nods slowly. "Yeah, it is." The entity's presence lingers one final time fainter now. Outcome logged. It murmurs. A universe that allows heroes, accepts uncertainty, and then it's gone. Days later, the Enterprise drifts peacefully among the stars. A new anomaly forms ahead, smaller, stable, a door. Data looks up from his console. This spatial signature matches Mr. Spider-Man's universe. Peter stands at the threshold, mask in hand. He looks back at the crew, Picard, at Crusher, at a future that taught him something vital. Picard nods. "You reminded us why exploration matters, not to control outcomes, but to understand them." Peter smiles softly. "You reminded me I'm not crazy for caring." He steps into the light. New York, Russia's back noise, gravity, chaos. He lands on a familiar rooftop just as the sun rises. The sirens wail in the distance. Someone needs help. Peter pulls his mask back on. Somewhere among the stars, Starfleet logs will record an anomaly, an impossible visitor who changed history without conquering it. And somewhere between universes, the idea lingers that as long as there are people willing to choose responsibility over certainty, the universe will never be truly alone.